All right, today we're going to do a little troubleshooting video. I've been needing this a long time. We're covering two vehicles. It's oddly, they're both ends of the spectrum. It's Rangers, XP1000s, and turbo razors of any kind. Why? Because the clutches are so similar, primary and secondary, that we can use the same video, same operations. You're checking more or less the same thing on both of them. And again, they're just so similar. So let's go to the overhead view for a second. Now this is a turbo primary, and this is a Ranger. First look, you'd say this is larger. Actually, no, it's the same diameter, which is why we're able to use, and I'll keep overhead view, why we're able to use a Hunterworks belt on them, because of the same diameter. We use a turbo belt on both, okay? So seeing that they're essentially the same, just beefier, let's move on with the troubleshooting, okay? So the point we're starting at is that you have your primary clutch pulled. Now there's two methods. If your outside half comes off freely, you take the center bolt out, slide it off, put the puller in, pop it off. If it does not want to separate like that, then there's an alternate method. We have a video to show you how to do that, leaving the outside half on with just a cover and spring out, okay? So, but the point is this right here is starting from a complete clutch sight. Okay, now let's get back to the overhead. Now hopefully, if you are still put together, you're going to use a Hunterworks compressor, and you're going to hold tension. Take a 10 millimeter. Just go ahead and pull them all the way out. Okay, drops down, but you are under spring pressure. Okay, again, it wouldn't matter if we was doing a turbo or this Ranger. This particular part is the same. Okay, set your cover off. You want to look at the bushing. Now, what condition is my bushing in? Does it look wore the heck out? Is it coming out, etc.? That's the first thing you want to look at. Take your spring off. Take the center black part out. Note the way the washers are in there. I have a turbo right here. You can see the differences real quick. They're the same but different. Much larger, but the thick washer and the thin washer are in there in the same order. This is a concave type washer. The cup portion goes towards the clutch. On this turbo, if you haven't replaced it, this is our precision ground washer. They did not get this accurate. It causes a clutch to either over travel or under travel. So on the turbo models, you want to look at that. On the Ranger model, you want to look at our little plastic washer that actually sits on the top side here. So check that out too. Mine will easily come apart for me to do the rest of this inspection, but if yours is stuck at this point, we have a video to show you how to get them unstuck by simply putting the puller down in here, holding this half up with your hand and hitting the puller, and it drives the bottom half out. I do it over a table because it's liable to drop out, okay? So we're going to slide this up and off, okay? Now, you want to slide your spider off. And it would behoove you that if any of these buttons come out, you want to put them right back where they came out. Also, you'll see that there's the X here, and on this movable sheave, there's going to be the same as applicable on the turbo, okay? So we're going to take this out, and we'll turn it over. I'm trying not to let any of my buttons fall out. At this point, you want to check these rollers. Actually, mine needs a good cleaning before I put it back up from my Ranger for duck season. My rollers look good. My buttons look to be good. We're going to check the tops of our flyweights for any grooving. If rollers are good and flyweights have grooves, it's probably because you spend a lot of time at high speed and the weights stay in one position all the time. That's not a good habit to have. You're going to want to check side to side motion, which checks your bushings, and that you're going to be looking for that. All right. Also, speaking of bushing, this round bushing here in the middle, You're going to check for it, excessive wear, obvious signs of damage. And then we move to the back half. All right, so we got a spacer here, and then you have a bearing and a washer. Now it's very important that the washers are there on both sides. It's probably a good time to do a little maintenance while you got this part. I like to take brake clean and spray this out, use an air gun, blow all that out, and I use the Hunterworks needle bearing grease to grease it. You can put too much, you can put too little. I can't tell you exactly how much. You have to let your conscience be your guide on that. I will tell you also that when you first put it back together, that grease actually needs to break in and work into all the areas, and you'll have a little belt drag, and the secondary may turn for a little bit, okay? So we're inspecting our bearing. Maybe you're using this video to replace the bearing also, but nonetheless, you want to inspect and make sure this is there. If you happen to be missing the inside washer, what happens is this bearing turns into a hole saw. Even though there's a recess here, it starts drilling into the back side. So you're going to want to check into here. If that washer is missing, unless you broke it 3 minutes ago, you probably have ruined at least this half of the clutch, okay? So that's the next thing you want to check. So, you know, this is more troubleshooting than it is how to take one, put it back apart, but we'll run through it real quick. I will also say this is a good time to take brake clean and a Scotch-Brite pad, clean these surfaces up, scrub it, and take a clean cloth, wipe it down. And I'm gonna put mine back dirty because I'm gonna take it back apart and do service it myself a little later off camera for duck season. So we're gonna put our washer, our bearing, there's no direction because these are two-way bearings, same on the turbo, our spacer. FYI, this is a 21 and newer Ranger primary. You may have an EBS model Ranger that has that hokey mechanism. I'd tell you to throw that half in the can, get the EBS delete kit must, not applicable to turbo. And then we're going to slide this right back down, find our X under the weight, there it is. And we're going to flip this back and find our X. And put this joker back in, if I can. It's a little tricky. There you go. Put your center post back in. A Hunterworks plastic washer. And spring and cover. And you need to do that on a spring compressor because you're just going to struggle pushing this back. For speed of video, second video, should be obvious how to do that, okay? So let's set all this to the side and out of my way. Enter in the secondaries. We have videos show you how to remove a secondary clutch. It is for Ranger, same process as a RZR as mentioned. Let's go to overhead view real quick. Now, these are actually two different secondaries, but look at the similarities. Do they look the same to you? They do on this side. Let's flip them over. They do not on this side. This is a 21 and newer Ranger and a 21 and newer Turbo RZR. This is the 18 through 20 with Hunterworks bushing retainer cup, because as you go look close, there is a retainer built into this. On this older clutch, there's not. The bushing can come out the back. This is called a windage plate. I have no clue why they use it in a Ranger, but it is to help allow the RPM to shoot up quicker in a RZR Turbo and not grab as much air. We'll have a debate one day about removing it. Okay, so let's flip them over. You've pulled it off as a unit. Look at here, easy, easy. And flipping them over, okay? Now we'll look inside of them. You see they're very similar. The only difference you'll see inside is this older Ranger where the secondary rollers are has what I call a oh Jesus clip. I believe they call it an E-clip, holding the rollers in and a washer, and these just slide on with a friction fit and actually can pop out real easy, but the design changes in the helix keep it from coming out. And we'll look at that real quick. and then we'll get to the troubleshooting. So if you'll look up, we'll do it this angle, you can see the difference. This is aluminum, this is forged steel, this is newer, this is older. Okay, now, so what are we looking for here? We're looking for conditions of rollers. How do they look? Both clutches, we'll pick one of these out, it doesn't matter. We're going to look at the ramps. Are they worn? What condition is it in? If the roller's gone bad, is it ate into it? Do I need a new helix? Same deal over here. You want to inspect the backside of this older Ranger for the bushing, whether it's come out or not. If it has, we sell a new back half. On this one, you can certainly just check the bushing. So these are things that you're going to want to check, FYI, on this one, because those rollers can come back out. You'll want to put it together with the outside half down. This one it won't matter because the rollers will not come out. And put it back together. And so pretty simple, really. Some people don't know how these things come apart. For those of you who do, and this is pretty basic, I apologize, but not everybody's on the same mechanical level. Everybody is an expert in their own field. And this may not be it. So we do a lot of basic videos and then just troubleshooting videos. You may have gotten this because I sent you an email. You've got problems and we need you to troubleshoot your primary clutch, secondary clutch, and send me pictures of anything that looks out of the way, it looks wrong. And then you can just email me that, todd@hunterworks.com, and we can figure it out, what you need and what you need to do. So hopefully, this helps somebody. If you got any questions, Todd@hunterworks.com, and I appreciate you guys.